Hello and welcome to a mega crafting session. In today's video we are going to grab a few little stamp sets and die cuts and goodies from this mega pile of gorgeous stuff from Picket Fence Studios January release. And the one I'm actually after is the Aurora Borealis background stamp. So we are going to, as you can see, I'm picking out some stuff here just to oh, what am I going to play with first? And I do have this tendency of picking out lots of stuff and just kind of seeing where the mood takes me. This one I really want to play with as well. And but this is the one I want. This is the one. So whilst I'm going to be putting all this stuff away, we are then going to actually open this and have a play. So this is the first time I'm using the stamp set, so it is brand new. So what I want to do is, first of all, take off the plastic sheet and just kind of rub it all over the place with my hands. You can do this with an eraser, just to kind of make sure that you get a good inking surface. And for my first card, I'm going to be stamping on a slimline panel, and I'm going to be heat embossing this. So first of all, I'm gonna take my anti-static tool and whoosh all over the place. And I have cut this down a little bit, so I did that a little bit more thoroughly than it might have looked like. And I'm going to be using the embossing pad from Wow, and we're going to be dabbing this very generously all over this stamp, and then we're going to stamp that on top of our cardstock, and then we're going to pick out a gorgeous embossing pattern. I did have a little bit of a hard time deciding between which two, and it was between two gold ones, which I know the Northern Lights are not gold, but I had the idea of sort of switching them around. So I'm going to be doing the Northern Lights colors on the background around that, and then add this in gold. And yeah, I nearly picked the sparkle gold, but I ended up using the regular gold, and it is one of my favorites. And I mean, look at that magic. Oh, I like this. So that's pretty wowza on its own. But we're going to be adding a little bit of color to this, and I'm going to be using the Atelier Inks from Ink on 3. So this first one I'm using now is called Trinity Teal, and I'm using a separate life-changing blender brush for each of these colors. And don't worry about the mess I'm making up top of the heat embossing, because we're going to be cleaning that up later. And this yellow is called Bee Sting Yellow, so we're going to be adding that to kind of elongating the golden glow. And then we're going to be adding Goddess Green. I love that name. And we're going to be adding quite a lot. So I wanted a really saturated background, so I'm just going in super heavy here and kind of adding color and really saturating the paper. And we're going to go in again with a little bit more Trinity Teal to kind of add that sort of, Northern Lights have a very specific kind of green teal glow. If you've ever seen it in real life, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I'm adding lots of color to this paper. And then in order to clean up the heat embossing, because obviously you don't want it to be looking like that, I'm using just a little bit of kitchen towel. And you want to be super careful not to get it too wet or touch the ink. So I have here an old shampoo or conditioner bottle, and I use that filled up with water so I can always keep my stamp scrubber clean, which is, I think, one of my more genius ideas. Instead of buying something fancy for money, I'm upcycling something old. So when that was all cleaned up, I used the Happy Birthday word die on that, and I popped it up with a few underneath. And I've actually used black cardstock to kind of bring in a little bit of a shadow of a depth to the gold there. And that was basically all the card needed. I toyed with the idea of adding some gems on top of that, but I kind of like having the heat embossing just as a kapow moment. So here what I've done is I'm going to be trying some different techniques. If you know me, then you know that I like to play with ink. So I placed my stamp on top of a sheet of acetate just to kind of keep things somewhat tidy. I know, shocker. And then with another piece of acetate, I've blocked off part of the stamp. So the whole idea is to kind of add colors without kind of getting too smudged lines. Does that make sense? Maybe just watch and I'll be quiet. But I've gone from Peacock Blue and then Trinity Teal, and then we're going to go with that amazing Goddess Green. And I'm cleaning off my little sheet of acetate there in between everyone as well. And I'm also, as you can see, I'm using a light-changing blender brush to kind of softening up the gap in between the colors. Obviously with the green and the yellow here, you have to be a little bit careful. And yeah, I did get a little bit of green on my ink pad, so I ended up having to re-ink that quite heavily. But not to worry, when I stamped yellow with it later, it didn't show at all the green, so it just was a little bit of a splodge there. So this one, the yellow again is called Bee Sting Yellow, and then we have Marigold Orange, and this one is called Petunia Pink. So first, as you can see, I mean, these colors are like crazy vivid and gorgeous. I love them. And I've done some different techniques. So first I have spritzed a little bit of water on that, and we're pressed down a piece of paper, and wowza, that just made it incredible. And then there was still ink left on that, so I thought, let's go in and do another one. And ta-da! So it's like super vivid and almost not pastel, because obviously it's still a little bit too vivid to be pastel, but still another very cool background. So I've cleaned it up with my stamp scrubber, and then as you can see here now, I have re-inked my yellow, and there is no green in that whatsoever, so it's safe. And then I've gone in with some the other inks again, some like directly on top, and then some just adding with the life-changing blender brushes. This is just to kind of give it like a slightly different look, because I don't want everything to be exactly the same. And what we're going to do now, once we've smoothed out sort of these lines as well, because with this technique that I'm going to be doing now, you need to make sure that your lines are smooth, because otherwise they're going to show very, very well. So we're going to take a cardstock, and we're not spritzing any water this time, we're just printing what is on that stamp. So, and also you just got to make sure that you do it really, really well. And then, ta-da! So yes, lots of different backgrounds. And then I did do another one as well, because there was still some ink left on there. So, and that is the second from the right. And I'm not 100% happy about that one, but you know, I'll just keep it anyway. And we are going to be using the Big Hugs die on a couple of these. So I'm going to be finishing off a couple of cards with that. And then the other cards will just be finished off with some stamping. So first I've cut out loads of these. So you will see that I've done four backgrounds with this one. And I didn't actually end up finishing one of those. And that's the one that I wasn't overly happy with. But I did use the spare Big Hugs from the one on the left and made a super clean and simple but sparkly card. And here I am with my stamp cleaner, stamp scrubber again, and just adding a little bit more water to make sure that my stamp is gonna be nice and clean. And this little tool here, it looks very dirty and stuff, but I regularly clean it off with a little bit of hand soap, and it's just a brilliant, brilliant little piece of equipment, because look at how clean that stamp comes off. Look at that, it's like brand new. You can't even tell I've used it. And then we're going to pop that back into this stamp set here. And yeah, so, you know, there's like 4 cards ready, made there. And then I have an extra background plus the heat embossed one. And I gotta tell you, it's like, yeah, they all a little bit different too, which I kind of like. I don't, you know, unless you're going to be selling your cards as or giving them away as like a gift, you know, you don't want everything to be the same. So I like doing things like this, where you just kind of let your mojo go down and do whatever you feel like doing, and you just never know what you're going to end up with. Although if you know me, you know that there is a fairly certain chance of some bling bling being added, and I couldn't resist adding a few of these day and night gemstones, so we are gonna try to be somewhat restrained, but it's probably not going to succeed. I'm also going to be using this fabulous new gem tool or gem tool picker. You know, the thingy-bobby that you pick up your gems and sequins with. So this was actually a gift from Nicole, and I don't know whether these are going to be sold in the shop, but if they turn out to be popular, if there's a huge demand, maybe, who knows. So you can always email them if you want to see about those. Now we're gonna hop into a bit of a time lapse because yeah, the bling bling ended up being lots. So are you surprised? Probably not. No. And you will be surprised though, however, to realize that one of those cards I decided not to add a single sequin on. So, see, I can shake things up. Yes, I can. So these two have got the gemstones from the day and night gemstone mix, and this is the, well, these are the two that actually are one piece. So and on this card I used moonshine, no. Okay, so White Blizzard Nouveau drops to glue down the moonshine sequin mix. So it adds a little bit of extra sparkle when they are see-through. So as I said, this one I decided to just kind of leave as it is, but I probably should have stamped one more time to get that Hello Beautiful, like super extra crisp. But you live and learn. And you know, we're just gonna have a quick little look-see on these cards again. But I really hope you enjoyed this video and just kind of like look at your stamps in a different way and see that, you know, you can do so many things with just one stamp set and a couple of die cuts and a lot of bling. Okay, yes. But I really hope you enjoy these cards and will try these techniques for yourself. And I will link everything down below. And thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.